as we look at the young boys in Pittsburgh, we know that the season is going to ride with the guys up front, how well they can protect Aaron Rodgers. Somebody that's been talked about a lot going into camp, and I know you've had your eye on him as you analyze this game and you analyze Pittsburgh. When you look at the tackles, the young tackles, one start between them at their current positions. Obviously, Broderick played some right tackle, but Troy is now the starting right tackle. Broderick plays left tackle now, his natural position, which he played at Georgia. But no starts at the left side. Troy obviously had the one start last year on the right side, but got hurt. What have you seen from them, and do you have faith that they can do the job to keep old man Rodgers up for the entire season?
I think a lot of what it's interesting watching Troy. He's extremely athletic for a guy his size. He's really athletic. Bends extremely well. The most I took from him was that he cares about his job, which is a testament to how he was raised in the game and who he is as a person. I think what's so interesting about that room as a whole is you don't realize that there has been a breakage as far as culture in that room, right? Because once Pouncey, DeCastro, and Ramon all left, there was another wave that just didn't make it, right?
Right.
So that culture of how we played and how we perceived ourselves and what we needed to be for the team in general, there was a break off. So now that this new five is on deck, my time around them, I was really just talking about culture and how we went through our day to day and how we practice, right? Like Russ did a great job of warming us up for the practice. They're like, like as far as bags, like shells, like we were always we practiced fast. We was always sweating. We was always like working. And then when I try to explain to these young guys, like a good offensive line understands momentum. And they was kind of looking at me and said, what do you mean by that? I was like, well, if a defense gives a big score, we have to respond, and it starts with us. We start momentum. If we do score and we're running the ball and we need to finish the game, it starts with us. We got to be going to tank formation. We got to do what we need to do. And now all comes down to detail and how we carry ourselves and our ability to just be the most physical people on the fucking field, right? And so a lot of times, man, those young guys, if we were privy to that because of Faneca and Jeff and all those guys and how they played. They were just gritty, tough, and they were just always after it. So when I was my time around them, man, I just was preaching that. I was like, dog, no matter what happens with the team, you got to start and you got to end momentum. That has to be your mindset. And that's what I was just trying to get around them. Individually, Troy and Broderick, they're just really young. They just need more battles. They just have, and I pulled Troy to the side a little bit. I said, you can't. And because he cares so much, and I love that about him, I was like, you got to understand, you got a lot more dog fights ahead of you, dog. And you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But it's about how you choose to get better each and every day. And also, don't believe everybody around you, right? Because a lot of people who are in your ear never been in the trenches with you. So you got to not only trust your coaches and your technique and who you are as a tackle, but also understand that, if you want to play in this league a long time, you just got to constantly evolve. Just always look to evolve, not even just from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. Because I learned so much. I told this to another one of my homeboys that I played with. He played in the league. I was like, I didn't learn football until I got to Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything I had done up to in my career, I was told to do, so I did it. But when I remember sitting down with you and Faneca, and they teach me about safeties and looks and linebacker depth and tails, that's football. That's how you learn to survive. So a lot of those guys are just learning that, and I just hope they do well.
And I know coming into it, you talked about that offensive line. I know we're getting, we got a game that we're preparing for this week. You saw this offensive line with Justin Fields behind it. Now we're going to see it with Aaron Rodgers. You had a chance to see Aaron Rodgers last year. Talk about some of these things that, because you have that in-depth perspective, talk about, matchups that you may be looking for as this Steelers-Jets game come to us on Sunday.
Well, first and foremost, I think, listen, after the world watch Aaron Rodgers run into MetLife Stadium holding that American flag. And I can tell you first and foremost, every New York Jet fan, anybody that's ever paid attention to the New York Jets for the last 20-something years and on, they thought that when he was carrying that flag running out of that stadium, that all the uglies was going to disappear, right? Like all the dark clouds, all the trauma that organization had dealt with was over. Then he gets hurt 4 snaps later. When he came back, man, I thought the biggest thing that I kind of didn't like was that when he got back, he didn't have any participation into the preseason. They kept him off the field, pretty much what the Steelers did this year. But nevertheless, man, that last year, week 1, it was against San Francisco 49ers on the road. Mind you, he has Tyron Smith at left tackle, right? He has Morgan Moses at right tackle. Elijah Vera Tucker was just coming off an ACL injury. They had 2 young guys in the middle at center and left guard. So the team, the offensive line was old but young, but a lot of the old guys were kind of shelling themselves. Like Tyron Smith, I love him. I love his game, and I always speak highly of him. But he was a little bit of a shell of himself. All that said, you started to see Aaron age before your eyes, and he was asked to be the white knight of that organization. And I believe Aaron when he says it. When Aaron got to New York, because I'm in the media here and I'm always on radio talking about it, he did a great job immersing himself into the city. I mean, he was at Knicks games, he was eating, he was around, he embodied New York culture, and people loved him for it. That's why everybody was super excited about him. For Christ's sakes, I remember the luncheon that I was just at last year. Woody Johnson showed up with a white New York Jets hat, white shirt, white pants, white Air Force Ones, and a platinum chain. I've never seen an owner look that saucy to start the season. He was like, yo, we winning the Super Bowl, right? He was that excited. And so when everything kind of went downhill, and Aaron, they pretty much handed the organization to Aaron, and nothing came awry. I thought last year when Tyron Smith went down and they added Olu Fashanu, he started to get healthy. The line started protected better, and we started seeing what we wanted to see out of Aaron Rodgers. He played a lot better. He's a lot more consistent, a lot more mobile. Because it wasn't just an Achilles. He was dealing with an ankle. He was dealing with a hamstring and a hip, and he was still gritting it out. As the season ended, we started seeing flashes of his mobilities and his ability to connect down the field. And now that I think he's fully healthy this year, I think we're going to see a lot better Aaron Rodgers. I think we're going to see a healthy one. I think we're going to see a more calm one. I think we're going to see somebody who's excited to play football and show it in all phases. And I'm excited to see him go, man. And I think he's going to do a damn good job. Well, fast forward over to Justin Fields, man. I try to say this, and Chuck, you can attest to this, Trai. I think certain players come with instructions. You know what I mean? And it's up to you to either abide by them or not. And if you don't, that's your ass. I don't see Justin Fields throwing the ball no more than 25, 30 times a game at best. I think he adds a fourth dimension to the run game because the Jets do have 3 really good running backs between Breece Hall, Breland Allen, and Isaiah Davis. And now you ought to add on Justin Fields. Our offense line is really good. They're really good and really young. If we can somehow play within that framework and play smart on first and second down where it's not 3rd and 8, where it's not 3rd and 9, where it's really like 3rd and 4 and 35, where he can manage that and stay in that, I expect Justin Fields to play well and do well. And the defense has gotten a lot better. So with all that said, man, I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think I ain't gonna lie to you. I think they're gonna boo the paint off Aaron Rodgers' helmet. That's just New York. You know how it is, Chuck. You know how it is, Trai. But I expect Aaron Rodgers to play well, and I also expect Justin Fields to play well if he doesn't get himself in trouble and the Jets don't get themselves in trouble early.
Yeah, we got a very interesting matchup at quarterback, but we can't let you get out of here. We're about to head to commercial break, but on the other side of this, we want to hear your predictions and where your loyalty still lies to this day.
Oh, the comic, I get that all the time.
We'll be right back after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com.
Welcome back to the Snap Count, y'all. Our guest, Willie Colon, is in the building. Hey, Willie, rumor has it that you weren't even a Steelers fan. I heard that when we went to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 40, your mama, God rest her soul,
yes,
big Franco Harris fan.
Yes,
God rest his soul as well. They were rooting for the Steelers, and you were rooting for the Seahawks in Super Bowl XL. Is this true?
Yeah, my mama and aunt, who are twins, were on that Steeler train for a long time, and they would talk so glowingly about how handsome Franco Harris was, and Franco and my mama and them. They all got that light skin clan, right? So they all have that walk about and talk about it. But my mom was in love with Franco Harris and the Steelers, and I grew up loving Lawrence Taylor because I was a Giants fan, and my brother was like the I don't know what's his label for one of those siblings that they go against everything the house is going against, right?
The black sheep.
Yeah. And so like I like the Giants, he like the Niners. I'm like, bro, you know nothing about San Francisco. You can't even spell San Francisco, right? So But with that said, yeah, so the year before I was going into, as I was preparing for the draft, I had a house in Connecticut. We were all training at. My family came out and watched the Super Bowl, and it was you guys versus Seattle Seahawks. And my mom was like, "This, Steelers this, Steelers that." My family was like, "Steelers this, Steelers that." And it's like, and part of it because I love Sean Alexander. Like I watched him in Alabama. I thought he was a dog. And I like the Seahawks. And I didn't grow up watching the Steelers at all.
See, I would have thought you would have vibed with that. You remember the whole Joey Porter, Jeremy Stevens little tiff when Joey went after Jeremy Stevens?
Yeah, I didn't care about it because I was a Giants, but I was a Giants fan. They had beat my Giants that year, so I wasn't. I was more worried. I was like, whatever. And it wasn't that I hated the Steelers. I just hated how hard my mom was going.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, they were just going super hard, and then and then sure enough, boy, got the call 131 fourth round to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I didn't even know where the hell Pittsburgh was. I was just like, where is this? So, you understand? I'm a New Yorker. Like I was all the way in New York. I knew nothing outside of the Bronx, and I didn't like even going to Jersey. Felt like I was going to Florida. I didn't like leaving New York, so it was just this is who I was.
Well, now you've had you've got your loyalty tested a little bit. You've had paychecks from Pittsburgh. You've had paychecks from New York.
All right.
They play each other this Sunday.
Yeah.
I know New York is still the one paying you right now. All that being said, where does your allegiance lie? Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna put you on the spot like that.
No, you can't. I'm fine with it because
right.
You know why? Because I covered the Jets pre and post with Bart Scott.
Right.
And Bart Scott would sit there on live television and ask him the same question. He's like, "Willie, I hear you talking to Jet stuff, but I saw you wearing a Steelers shirt the other day." So I go back and forth. It happens every time we play the Steelers, and I tell people time after time, listen, when you have as much success I have with the Steelers and you win a Super Bowl with the Steelers, how can I not pledge allegiance to the
There we go. That's what we like to hear on the snap count.
And I also say at the end of the day, like, I love going home, but I didn't have a lot of success. It wasn't like we were going to the playoffs year after year. When I got to the Jets, they had cleared the locker room, right? So it wasn't a lot of veteran leadership outside of myself, Nick Mangold, Brickshaw Ferguson, David Harris, Cromartie. And we were, when I got to the Jets in 2013, man, we were the second youngest team in the league. We had a lot of talent, a lot of young, raw talent, but we just wasn't together, and we was nowhere the outfit as you guys were. So, and that's just what it was.
Willie, I can't let you get out of here, man. I'm close to 20 years ago, man. I seen you as a young guy. You created a foundation. You have a lot of great supporters that's still in Pittsburgh, obviously in New York as well. Talk a little bit about what you have going on and how people can support your mission.
Man, I appreciate that, Chuck. So the hottest thing working for me right now, so for this season, as Trai mentioned, I'm going to be on Fox Sports. I'm doing SNY covering the Jets pre and post. I got signed to do Good Morning Football, so I'll be on this season of Good Morning Football. I'm excited about that. And also the wife and I dropped a book called Faith and Fertility. And this book, it means a lot. It's a two-person perspective of me and my wife and her IVF struggles. And it was real, man, because I think a lot of people don't understand. IVF is tough. You can have, I've said this on record, when we were sitting in those waiting rooms, Chuck and Trev, we were sitting down with folks who had the means beyond means. I mean, dressed to the nines. You could tell they never had a worry in their world. They never picked up a silver spoon. Like they were spoon fed everything in their life. Mm-hmm. The one thing they couldn't get or wanted was a child, right? And so the one couple that I remember, there was an Asian couple. They had spent 5 years in that one waiting room hoping for one baby. And then I can remember our own struggles with, my wife being 5 years older than me. And we weren't married at the time. So, even though I knew I wanted to marry her, I was still on the field playing with the New York Jets. And she was nervous, right? Because she's older than me. She wants a child, and, it's her and back. Part of her stress was like, how am I going to ask? How's this man going to marry me when I can't bear a child right now? And, I'm keeping a buck. I spent most of my wild times trying not to get a woman pregnant. And the one time I want to get somebody pregnant, I can't. And so there's a lot of back and forth about our relationship, our IVF journey, the struggles she went through, watching, somebody who you love go through multiple miscarriages is extremely tough. And then on top of that, there's so much talked about the torment and kind of the grief that the wife goes through, or the woman goes through. Nobody talks about the male side of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so we get into all that. We get into how we came together and how much we've evolved as a couple and continue to evolve. And I think, IVF isn't talked about. When we were talking about the book and writing the book, everybody that we spoke to, we didn't know they had their own IVF struggles unless we brought it up first, because it's so personal, right? It's just people don't talk about it, don't talk about they don't talk about it. And we had multiple doctors close the door in our face, and we had some say, "Hey, man, I think the only avenue for you guys is donorship." And so we go through all that in the book, man, and it's heavy, and I think people are extremely receptive to it. You can find it on Amazon, and I think it's through it all. And I know I'm moving a mile a minute. Through it all is, even we went through the IVF and the miscarriages. Once we stopped, that's when we was able to conceive. And I think that's kind of the brux of it, is that, my wife, because I saw her, it was tearing her up, man. It was, from a physical standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. She had lost a mother during the period of it. I was retiring off the field. I didn't know what I was going through. And like both of you guys can attest to, and I'll be the first one, when you retire, even though you have money in the bank, it's still a grieving period, right? Because so much of your identity and who you are is wrapped up into one sport and a job that you've done for so long. So we had to go through all that. And we talk about it all in the book. And I just hope people give it an honest read. And anybody that is going through IVF struggles, that they're able to read that book and hopefully get some source of inspiration from it.
Give us the name again, and then where can they find it?
Yes, Faith and Fertility. You can catch it on Amazon. Yes, Keisha and I and the kids. Trai bought the book. Thank you, Trai, for purchasing it. I know he's posted it. And we've received a lot of heartfelt thank yous and for our level of vulnerability. And I think we just want to continue to promote not only our spirituality and our faith and our belief in God, but also love. Right. And love for not only each other, but for the process, and realizing that, if you get through it together, you put him first, all things are possible.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for that. With so much football going on and fantasy and all, gambling, it's really good to take a beat and talk about the things that really, truly matter. So I appreciate you for bringing that to us. Well, Willie, I appreciate you for stopping by.
Thank you, man. Love you guys.
Fans and Snap Count. You can find Willie this year on FS1. You can find him on SNY. You can find him on Good Morning Football.
Yes, sir.
Hosting the Why Willie Show as well. Thank you, number 74, for stopping by the Snap Count and gracing us with your presence. Appreciate you, brother.
Respect.